So one of our customers actually sent in a question asking about the value of measuring free cash flow. What's the big deal is what they were asking. So I thought I'll make this quick video to explain using an analogy. And if the analogy works, great. If not, just let me know in the comments and I'd love to update my explanation with something different. So here's the analogy. It might seem a little silly at first. Would you drive 100 miles an hour on a street that has a speed limit posted at 45 miles an hour? No, you would never do that. And why would you not do that? The reason is as you're driving, our eyes see the speed limit and quickly register it in the brain. We're going to need it later. So the brain's got this 45 miles an hour speed limit until we see the next speed limit sign. We've got this registered in the brain. And every time we get to 45 miles an hour, the brain says, hey, that's the speed limit. And we automatically become cautious about not going much further above that. We still do push above that. We get to 50. If we want to really push, we'll get to 55. But above 55, the brain is not comfortable anymore. It says, hey, slow down. This is not okay. We're not safe. Others are not safe. We might get caught by the cops. We'll get a big ticket. We might, collide into somebody. Just don't do this. And automatically, unconsciously, involuntarily, our foot kind of eases on the gas pedal and we slow down to kind of be in the vicinity of the 45 miles an hour. Imagine all of that happens without us consciously doing much, with the power of just displaying the speed limit to us. Like I said, the cars can go at any speed they want. Like we can really push, but we still don't do that because we're all reasonable people. When it comes to discretionary spending, my argument is that we don't really have a speed limit like that. What do I mean? Well, I might have an income of $5,000 per month, but I might have 3 or 4 credit cards, and each credit card may have a variance of between 5 and 10 and 12 and $14,000 credit limits, depending on their age and how well I've been maintaining the card and so on. The numbers that we've been tuned to think about is not exceeding 30% of the credit limit. So if you think about it like that, I have, let's say, $20,000 credit limit across all my credit cards. The subconscious has been trained to think that I have up to $6,000 I can spend before my credit score starts to get damaged. It doesn't make any sense. That number, although dynamic and although it's variable for everybody, is not the right guideline for us to be safe as far as spending money is concerned. So my argument is that free cash flow is a sort of a speed limit that is reasonable for us. And when I say free cash flow, it seems like a very big term. It's not a complicated thing. It's very simple. It's like income minus expenses equals free cash flow. It takes less than 5 minutes to do that in a month. And we make it even more simpler on the Lintbook app to do this. Especially if you have a partner, it's even better. It's even easier. But coming back to free cash flow, say that again, that I have a $5,000 income and I spend $4,000 on essential expenses in the month, I'm left with $1,000. My argument is that most of us have not been tuned or have not been trained to look for this number. What is that number? The $1,000, when you see it, immediately a switch goes off in the brain. It registers this number somewhere. And now what happens is when you go to an online shopping website and you see a nice watch strap for $6, fine, no problem. I like it. I have $1,000 to play with, no problem. I can buy this if I want to. But at the same time, if you see a treadmill that usually goes for $2,000 but now is selling for $1,400, which is a massive discount on a quality treadmill, and you really want this thing, now what you can think about is, because you have seen this number, the $1,000, you can start to think about, am I willing to sacrifice my free cash flow in order to get this treadmill or no? Similarly, going back to the uh, speed limit example, the job of the city is to display that speed limit. You are still fine if you want to drive at 80 miles an hour and take that risk. But at that moment, what you're saying is, I have seen the speed limit and I'm willing to take this risk because I don't see any cops on the road or whatever it is. It's my point is that it's okay to spend more than what you make, so long as you're aware that you are spending much more than how you make. To like, you need to know exactly how much more you're spending, and if you know that, it shows that you're taking a calculated risk. And it happens all the time, right? Like, we may have to spend on something that we absolutely need. We know we cannot pay it off in the same month that we're buying it, and we know we're going to carry a balance, and that's okay. So long as you tell yourself that you are taking this risk, it's okay. And you won't be able to tell yourself you're taking this risk unless you know what your free cash flow number is. And that's why free cash flow is almost like the speed limit on a street. And ignore, unless you're out in the market trying to buy a house or a car, ignore the guidelines on how much credit utilization you need to have. They say 30%, but actually it's like you need to be using like less than 10%, 8%, something like that. That's the ideal number. So 30% doesn't even compute. So, like, keep that aside for credit score calculations, and that's again only needed when you have to go get a credit card or a loan or something like that. But for everyday purposes, try to know what your free cash flow is, and that will protect you just as it's been protecting me. Frankly speaking, I've been a huge impulsive spender, but I have been able to curb all of that spending, not by punishing myself. Like, if somebody came in and said, Sundar, try to save more, don't spend on what randomly seem to want every time, I would have thought that that's not okay. Like, I want to spend on whatever I want to spend on. You cannot tell me one way or another. It's my decision. And that's the point. So nobody said that to me, but I still was able to curb my spending. And the only reason is because I saw my free cash flow number. It was less than $100. And I'm like, that's not okay. Can I increase that a little bit? And that's the second value of knowing your free cash flow. Two benefits. One is that it curbs impulsive spending, just like it'll curb you from just accelerating on a street. And the second value is that the speed limit example doesn't really solve for, but the free cash flow does, is once you have seen your free cash flow number, $1,000, let's say, the brain automatically starts to think about it like a game. It says, hey, what can I do next month so that it's slightly more than $1,000? Right? Just like when you see a loan number, you want to definitely see a smaller loan number next month. It's like that. When you see the free cash flow number, your brain says, oh my gosh, like, what can I do to increase that next month? Can I get rid of stuff in the garage? Can I invest in a good stock that I know is going to pop? Can I go invest in a savings account that has a higher yield percentage? Something like that will occur, and you'll start thinking about it. You may think about, hey, it's about time that I go get that promotion I've not been working on. Let me go work towards getting a promotion. Or, you know what, let me go get a higher paying job. Or, you know what, let me sell the third car in the house that we're not really using at all, right? And improve my cash flow. And believe it or not, to this day, I'm absolutely confused by how, for ages, businesses have been measuring their free cash flow. And that's the metric by what their stock price rises and their company value goes up. Literally, free cash flow. Every company measures it and is actively working to improve it every quarter when they report their earnings. Companies do it, but for some reason we don't do it. Why is that? And we wanted to fix that, and that's why we built Lintbook. And that's why it doesn't have any fancy bank connections or bank syncing and budgets or anything like that. Its job is only one single thing, which is help people measure their free cash flow. Because the once you know it, you will improve it. And improving free cash flow means you're creating wealth. There's no other metric that will help you do that. So I hope this analogy and explanation made sense. Again, if it did, great. If it did not, please let me know in the comments, and I'll post some more videos about this. Thanks so much. Bye.